Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you. My name is John Kavanaugh, and this is my presentation for Kinesiology Class 473. The title of my presentation is The Effects of High Intensity Interval Training versus Moderate Intensity Continuous Training on the VO2 max and BMI in older adults. I'm studying to be a corporate health coach, and so I'm always interested in the well-being of office workers and looking for tools to assist them in maintaining their health and weight in the workplace. High-intensity interval training has gained a lot of popularity with personal trainers and coaches, and it is a tool that they're using to increase the physical conditioning, aerobic conditioning of their clients. So I'm interested to see if this might have a place in the workplace or with the office workers. Obesity in the workplace continues to rise. In fact, obesity in the United States was higher last year than it was the year before, and again higher this year. In fact, CNN has reported just last month that 40% of adults are obese and 19% of our youth are obese. As a corporate health coach, I look for ways to assist people in maintaining their health, and how to integrate a good, healthy lifestyle and exercise lifestyle and with a works lifestyle. The complaint that most people have in the workplace is, with regard to maintaining their weight, is the availability of food. Everywhere you look, there's food, and also the lack of time to exercise. So I'm interested in the high-intensity interval training to see if that could possibly bring another tool into the workplace for people to maintain their health and their weight. Most of the clients you would have as a corporate health coach are going to be office workers, and you'll find that the majority of these individuals are not currently exercising. They're in the sedentary category, and so you want to introduce new programs for them to use to improve their conditioning. Traditionally, you would recommend continuous, moderate intensity continuous training, which would be, to go out, run, bike, swim. You're getting your heart rate up to 70%. You're doing it for a minimum of 20 minutes, ideally 30 minutes, and so that you're working your way up to getting the 150 minutes a week that you need to be doing. The other mode that is becoming popular is high-intensity interval training, and I think this scares some people away because of the intensity of it when you start in it, but it has many benefits, or reported to have many benefits, and that's something we want to look at here. High-intensity interval training is where you bring your heart rate up to above 80% for an interval of time. Then you have a recovery period, and you bring your heart rate back up to that above 80% again. This has the potential to increase your VO2 max with a less amount of exercise on a weekly basis, and that's what we're looking to do. So as we know, is reported by office workers, is that the availability of food, and not actually healthy food, but just lots of food, and the shortage of time has us begging the question, is there a time-efficient way to improve aerobic conditioning and to lose weight? So the hypothesis we're going to put forward in our study is, can high-intensity interval training increase an individual's VO2 max and reduce weight in less time on a weekly basis, number of minutes exercise per week, in less time than traditional aerobic training? in our study, we want our participants to reflect the individuals, clients that we would see in the workplace. And the majority of those are going to be between the age of 30 and 60. So we set up our study to have 3 groups. We're going to have a high-intensity interval training group, a moderate intensity continuous training group, and we're going to have a control group. And we're going to have 21 participants per group. We'll have 7 of the age between 30 and 40, 7 between the age of 41 and 50, and 7 between the age of 51 and 60. Now, these people will be randomly assigned. They'll go through the questionnaire to see if they're at any risk for exercising before we have them do that. We'll have them sign an informed consent agreement. The control group is not going to exercise, but they're going to be introduced to a weight management education class. Weight management is something that is really should be done on an individual basis, and it needs the participation of a dietitian. We don't have that available or the time, so what we're just going to do is have people in the study become educated. We'll educate them on weight management, and then we'll ask them to count their calories, the consumption of calories each week. And we'll have them report on Monday what their calorie consumption was on Sunday. We'll have them report on Wednesday what their Tuesday consumption was, and we'll have them report on Friday what their Thursday consumption was. The medium intensity group will both the HIIT and the MICT groups will exercise 3 times a week over an 8-week period. But before we start them on the study, we're going to do a 1-week exercise orientation class where we introduce them to exercise in cycling, or the ergonomics, and the weight. And we'll also run both these groups through the weight management class. So the high-intensity interval training group will again exercise 3 times a week. They'll have a 3-minute warm-up and a 3-minute cool-down after each session. Each session they will do 4 intervals. They'll do 3-minute interval at the 80% or above target range for heart rate. And they'll have a 2-minute rest period before they return to another 3-minute high-intensity interval. And again, we'll do this for four times. The medium moderate intensity continuous training group will again have the same warm-up and cool-down period, and they'll exercise at 30 minutes 3 times a week. And the 30 minutes target range would be to their heart rate between the 60 to 70%. Now, all of the participants will have their VO2 max checked in the first week and at the end of the 8 weeks, and then everybody will have their BMI measured using a 3-fold skin test, and they'll have this done at the beginning and at the end. And again, all 3 groups will report their calories that they consume each week. After the 8 weeks of exercise training and the programs that the participants went through, we found that the HIITs, or the high-intensity interval training group, realized an average increase of VO2 max of 3.2 milliliters per kilogram per minute, or a 12% increase. The medium-intensity continuous training group realized an increase of their VO2 max of 2.1 milligrams, or milliliters per kilogram per minute, and that was a 7% increase. The HIIT groups saw a mean BMI change of 0.3 kilograms per meter squared, and the MICT group saw a BMI change of 0.1 kilogram, and the control group saw a mean BMI change of 0.0. There was really no correlation between the exercise that the individuals, because they were scattered, on how much weight they lost. And then we attribute most of that to the fact that there was no calorie control that was also occurring at the same time. And I think it's a pretty well known fact that exercise alone or diet alone is a difficult way to reduce your weight and manage your weight. It has to be a combination of eating well, managing your calorie consumption, and exercising, so that you're expending more calories than you are consuming if you want to lose weight. The results of our study were similar to other studies that we looked at in the experimental gerontology magazine book. They reported that the high intensity group that they had looked at had saw an improvement of VO2 peak and ejection fraction of 11% and 4% respectively. Their moderate intensity control group or continuous training group did not see an increase. And the Journal of Sports Medicine and Science and Medicine article on the effects of high intensity interval training versus steady state training on aerobic and anaerobic capacity. Their high intensity group saw an increase of VO2 max of 18%. This same article also mentioned that the high intensity group did lose some weight, and they attributed it to the fact that you continue to expend calories after this high intensity training, more so than you do after the medium intensity training. But there was really no statistical conclusion that could be drawn from their tests. The statistical analysis that we ran on this study was that we did a two-tailed t-test on the interval training against the VO2 max for both of the high intensity and the medium intensity training programs. And then for the BMI analysis, because we had three groups, we used a ANOVA statistical analysis.